So, I've been into anime my whole life. My mom and my biological father watched anime back in the 60s and 70s, and my older sisters watched it back in the early 90s. And I ended up learning the language and getting really into the street fashions. I even went to Tokyo for a weekend when I was staying in Seoul for study abroad. I visited the anime haven, that, little place called Akihabara, and also the fashion mecca Harajuku. It was most definitely a dream come true, to say the least. Kawaii culture was mixed into everything you saw or interacted with, and it's very popular with teenage girls and also young women. But it's also very popular with other demographics too. There's a huge fashion magazine there called Pop Teen that showcases all of this. Unfortunately, I don't have any footage from Anime Boston 2020 because coronavirus kind of killed it, but it was supposed to talk about the experiences of different black people into kawaii culture, but since, I'm into it, here I am. So not everyone into kawaii culture or J-fashion is into anime, but anime does have a heavy influence on being kawaii and vice versa. Anime has many subgenres, so it's easy to find something you'd like. The app Crunchyroll is very easy to use, and it's on platforms like Roku, so you can watch it on your TV. Again, places like Akihabara, Shibuya, and several other places in Japan use a lot of anime/kawaii aesthetics. Shopping in Tokyo is always a great experience for people like myself that are into the fashion. Magazines like Fruits, which is now unfortunately defunct, and again, Pop Teen magazine always shows some of the most popular fashions around Tokyo, and girls even audition just to be a Pop Teen model. Egg, which is known for showcasing the style of Gao, came from wanting to challenge Japan's beauty standards of being pale and conservative. I'm most definitely not the only foreigner into J-fashion or anime. Even mainstream people like Paris Hilton were known for liking Kawaii. I actually grew up going to Anime Boston, the third largest anime convention in New England, and that coronavirus sort of got canceled. So, here we are. But believe it or not, I actually got bullied for liking anime growing up. So Anime Boston was like a safe space for me. A smelly safe space, but a safe space. Kids would ask me why I like that Chinese stuff. They even spread around the rumor that I was the daughter of a rich Japanese man and would throw Asian slurs at me when I was a whole black person. But okay, it wasn't until recent years that liking anime was socially accepted, and even then people care more about the aesthetics of anime more so than actually liking it, so you can even still get shamed for quote-unquote liking it too much. Kids would tell me that black people aren't supposed to like Asian things, which is part of why they lied about me being Japanese. But it wasn't just anime they'd obsess about. White Latinx boys would make rape jokes and look in my direction. I'd often be accused of bleaching my skin, and white girls would scream at me as I walked down the hallway, so clearly there's something deeper here. So thankfully, I was able to interview a Lolita influencer that I've been following for a while now. Lolita fashion has nothing to do with the novel, for starters. It's not kink, it's not a costume, it's just a hyper-feminine fashion style that borrows from the Roko era and various other European fashions. Lolita can be every day, or it can be something you just wear at conventions, but here's a clip of the girl I interviewed talking about her experience.
If you really want to do, then I say you jump right into it. But it's not just about breaking away from like your marginal kind of societal norms, and by that I mean the norms within the black community. It's also about migrating and assimilating into the Lolita community, which is a community predominantly for Asians and white girls. Now I know a lot of people will disagree with me on this point, like it's not made for white girls, but there are so many white models in Japan, and so many white and Japanese mixed models as well, that are always picked for Lolita shoots. They've always been in Lolita, so as much as yes, it was created for Japanese girls, there is also representation. There's a lot of representation for white girls as well. So that's just the way it is. I'm not sure like say anything. Or
in my interview with her, she expressed a lot of the same sentiments and experiences that I've had, or that other black girls that I know that are into this kind of stuff have, where like her family thankfully was supportive, because there are some families that aren't, but for her friends, like one was like, that's weird, but okay, and another was like, you're going to look horrific, what are you talking, what? And these mixed bag responses aren't exactly unique to even just black girls that like this, but it's specifically coded within our blackness. And she went on to explain how whenever you see black models in Japan, normally they're being used for like an edge factor, a quote-unquote urban factor, which honestly they learned from the West, because we do that here all of the time. And there are a few, you know, cutesy black models in Japan, but like not as many as there are white models. So it put the perspective within the Western community that the white ones matter more so than the black ones, and that the black ones can't do it at all. And honestly, that perspective already existed because welcome to white supremacy, where we're taught that, whiter the better. So to get that sort of bias confirmation from them, like, you see, black women, but especially dark-skinned ones, are coded to be either asexual or hypersexual in racial scripts. The way society dictates the behavior and livelihood of oppressed groups tells us that we cannot be cute. Even some black men tell us this. The kids at my old school had been attempting to socially punish me for not adhering to, these racial scripts. There are a few black anime characters, and in Japan, there's even some black models, and there's even some full-on, like, in these legendary big group like Exile, black J-pop idols. So why is it that white people are so adamant on telling us to stay away from Japanese culture, especially when Japan takes from African Americans all of the time? So here's K-Bear, a relatively famous cosplayer. She received all sorts of horrific comments, and this is a common thing, unfortunately, because you cannot push the narrative that no one wants this if there are multiracial spaces that accept this. You cannot push the notion that black women cannot be cute if there's plenty of black girls wearing cutesy clothing and makeup, and those two narratives have been key factors to justifying the abuse and exploitation of black people, reducing us to being aggressive and abusive through genetic reasons, aka eugenics. Not only that, but many racist anime fans believe Japanese people love whiteness above all, even their own Asian identity. Japanese people themselves love white people more than themselves. The want to be worshipped is something that is very strong within, racist people in general, but we're talking about the anime community right now. Racist weeaboos. Weeaboo is a term of people. It means that they fetishize Japanese culture. Desperately want to be worshipped, and the worshipping aspect is just huge in a way that I can't even fully explain. I myself had similar experiences with the Korean version of weeaboos, which is a Koreaboo, to which, they would go on full out rants, raging at me, upset because I got more attention than them, whether it was because a street magazine wanted a picture of me and not them, a Korean man complimented me and not them, whatever it was, they were upset because that feeling of superiority wasn't being confirmed in that moment. If anything, it was being denied. So they wanted to punish, especially me, for not confirming their superiority that doesn't exist. So, I grew up having the same girls that I was speaking of before, make fun of my pigtails, debate when I was going to lose my virginity. They'd scream in my face, demanding to know why I thought I was cute. Didn't even say that. I did, but think I was cute, but I never said it out loud. So, it's this white rage, which is a term that means, when white supremacists aren't getting their way and they throw a tantrum, essentially. This is the white female version of white rage. These white girls have been taught to believe that they were the superior beauty, and racist ones lose their mind when it's challenged. That's why weeaboos often believe themselves to be superior in performing kawaii culture. Some of them even have made comments saying that they perform being a Japanese girl better than a Japanese girl, and that's problematic on so many levels that my 15-minute documentary cannot explain. This isn't just an anime community problem, and I need everyone to understand this. It's a society thing. This is only an introduction to the subject, but I do hope people start to think more about the systemic symptoms of oppression, how they bleed into factions of society that they weren't even supposed to be, not even meant to be for, and just a better understanding of what it's like to be kawaii while black. I think that's all I gotta say. I think I'm good. Yeah.